Welcome everyone, this is Short Change Games, and I'm going to be talking about how to get someone into playing games who doesn't actually play video games. So, first of all, respect. For Christ's sake, if they don't want to do it, don't force them, and have common decency and respect for that person, and don't try to force it on them. However, if they've kind of given some sort of vibe that maybe they want to try it, maybe they want to attempt playing, then okay, and this is something that's going to be hard to explain because the term gamer is very, very, very broad. So there's some very elitist people who think that only if you're gaming on PC you're actually playing, or if you're only gaming on a dedicated console or PC you're gaming, or you know what I mean? Like if someone's playing Angry Birds on their phone, they're not a gamer, even though they're that's the perception. So what I'm going to be specifically talking about here is more in-depth games, like how to get someone into something that's more demanding and more intense than, say, Angry Birds, something really short and small you're going to find on your phone. But for those of you looking, that is your first clue right there. If the person around you, the person, the friend, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the mom, the dad, the parent, whoever you're trying to get, if they're playing something on their phone, chances are they enjoy video games. They might not know it and they might not call themselves a gamer, but they're playing a game, and that's your best ticket right there. Say they're playing a tower defense game. Well, inherently tower defense is very strategic in nature, so maybe you can introduce them to a lighter strategic game like, I don't know, Civilization or Halo Wars specifically. Maybe they're playing an action game or a mechanical game. What you want to do is think about what game they're playing on their mobile device and broaden it, make it more intense and more in depth. So take whatever genre they're playing currently on their phone. If they're doing a more narrative piece, then find a more narrative game for them to play. Think of a Telltale game. That's what you want to do. And if you ask me, tell me, they don't play the games on their phone. They say that oh, maybe it'd be cool to play a game. I don't know what I would start with. But they don't ever play games. What do you do? So I'm gonna guess that any of these people in your life, they're gonna like and enjoy other media. So think of, let's just say, movies, because it's not exactly but it's kind of close, right? You know, you got a very visual storytelling medium. So think of what kind of genre they like. Do they like horror games? Maybe start them out with something simple, horror related. Most of them are actually pretty easy. Yeah, they're scary as hell, but they're really easy to play, actually conceptually. So think of Outlast. I personally think that game is shit, but if that's what the person likes, then that's what the person can really get into and enjoy. If they like action movies with a lot of gunshots and gunfire and explosions, maybe think about a nice Call of Duty set piece on an easier difficulty setting. That's the perfect way. And if you can, I know it's really rare nowadays, really rare. This is for anyone. Try to find a co-op game so you can play together. And if it isn't a co-op, if it's single player, then you're gonna have to take the time and sit down with them and actually kind of help them walk through. That's going to be a really big part of this. But co-op would be the best. Another brilliant place to start, and this is one of the best places I've seen for anyone getting into it, fresh out of the box. So my mom plays World of Warcraft, and she is a 50-something-year-old lady who sits there and plays World of Warcraft and never really had experience playing any other games besides your typical board games or Bejeweled or something. Nothing like that in depth. And she's maxed out many characters, and it's a really good way for people, because conceptually most MMORPGs are really easy, and if you have the money for World of Warcraft, it's a really good one because it's a really big community and a really helpful community, and they've streamlined the game. Even though I hate that, they've streamlined the game so much that it's really easy for any new person to get in and start playing and just randomly button mash the keys and actually level all the way up by doing quests. But it's a very social game, so most people can really get into it, and you can play with your significant other, your friend, your parent, whoever you're trying to get into. You can play with them online, and so that's also really going to help. And the more cartoonish graphics usually help, and it's more lighthearted, and it's easier to join and drop out. You're not going to want anything too overly stimulating or too confusing. Even I go into some games, even I'll go into some games and I'll be like, what is going on? It's such a heavy front-loaded game. You're going to want to make sure that it has a nice tutorial. Like, that is another huge point here, is find a game that's going to actually handhold the person at the beginning to help them with the controls. Most first-person shooters now kind of skip over that. They assume most players who are playing for first-person shooters know how to handle the sticks. And let me tell you, if there's something you haven't seen before, it's watch any person who doesn't really play games, especially with a controller, try to maneuver a camera in a first-person shooter. It's really, really sad to watch because it's really hard for them to get it down. You can go watch, I know, the React channel where the elders react. When they're playing any first-person shooter, you can tell the major problem there is the actual controls. So make sure if you're going to get them playing one of those that you kind of set them up so that they can have a nice and easy time learning the movement of the position. That's why I say a co-op game like Halo would be really good, because you can fight off the bad guys and they can still experience the story instead of just standing on one spot just trying to get the controls down. Another big thing, it goes back to the respect. Don't push it on them once they start. If you're going to be pushy about it, if you're going to ask them every other day to like, hey, play with me, or play this or play that, then it's just going to push them away. You're going to want to kind of like just let them do it at their own pace. If they want to, then they want to. Maybe if it wasn't their game, you can try again later and try a different game next time. But the key here should be about experiencing something together and having fun together. And though I hate to say it, one of the best ways is if you have a Nintendo product, because Nintendo games are usually just that. They're a great introduction for kids or people who haven't really touched games much. And because of that, it's very social, it's very fun, it's very like light colors, very cartoonish graphics, and people eat that stuff up. One of the big reasons the Wii sold so much is because it was, like, again, part of it was the whole motion controls gimmicks, but it hit people who don't play games. I've seen and gone into so many houses where I know the people don't play video games at all, or even the parents themselves who bought it, or the older couple who bought it, and they're like, yeah, we have a Wii in there if you want to, play with the Wii. And I'm like, do you ever use it? They're like, no. Like, do you have any other console play games? Like, they're like, no. It's such an easy way for people to like kind of dip their toes into games with any kind of Nintendo product. So to wrap all this up, think of something that the person is interested in and relate it to it. Think of something that relates that's bigger and better, and kind of move them up and progressively move them up. Whether it's a different media or they already play games mobile, like on their mobile phone. Think of things that are similar but also more in depth. Think of stuff that is co-op, multiplayer, something that you can play with them and help them out. And like the bottom line always is respect. Just respect the person. If they don't ever want to, then they're probably not going to, and pushing them isn't going to help. So that's all from me. If you like the video, give it a like. If you want to see more like this, think of subscribing. If you want to add to the comments and say maybe how you did your process and how you got someone into playing games, that's also awesome. So that's all from me, and I'm out.